My name is Jennifer Beaugrand, and I am both the founder and the executive director of The Bronx is Blooming. The Bronx is Blooming started as an idea in 2011. We started our youth leadership and we started community programming as well in 2011. And then we started our youth leadership program called our Program for Leaders Advancing Their Community's Environment in 2013. So it's been going for more than a decade now. I started The Bronx is Blooming with the goal of creating a youth leadership development component to the community building program. So there was never a Bronx is Blooming where youth leadership would not have been a component, and Place came out of that. I had created and run similar programs in the past, so there was an understanding for me that when we created this, our goal was to engage Bronx high school and college students in leadership, in skill development, but really in personal professional development so they can take it with them to someplace where they want to go.
My name is John Valachi, and I'm the Environmental Program Manager at The Bronx is Blooming. Our focus is to cultivate and support a culture of environmental stewardship in the Bronx. The work and our mission is super engaging and interesting to me. You know, the balance between education and youth development and leadership development, coupled with actually doing ecological restoration work and garden bed design and care and horticulture, is kind of a mix of all of my skills and interests.
My name is Henry Jordan. I am the Place Program Manager at The Bronx is Blooming. The reason that I wanted to manage the Place program was because I knew personally that working in a small group of people with an environmentally related goal really breaks down those fundamental social functions of group dynamics. And so you get to analyze how you behave, how other people behave. They get the opportunity to analyze their own behavior in a social environment. Then through processes like feedback, through debriefing, there's really a lot of self-growth and awareness that develops through those programs. So that's what really excites me. And then also to have this connection to nature is just my two biggest passions kind of colliding together. So that's why I decided to take the Place position. Place stands for Program for Leaders Advancing Our Community's Environment. So one of my favorite things about Summer Place, my favorite thing, I'll be straight up, is the Place training, because that is an opportunity to really form a solid community with folks who are incredibly engaged, really want to make an impact in their community, and are really excited to learn more. So I love developing the curriculum beforehand, putting it into place throughout the month, and seeing the community that develops among mentors over that first month. Their whole training is all during the month of June. And then in July, their students come and they go out and it's chaos and they figure it out, and then they get their crews running and they start to run more smoothly. And they don't see each other a whole lot throughout that season. But then at the very end, they all come together, and it's just, they've all shared this challenging experience, this experience that has foisted a lot of responsibility on them, and more responsibility than most early 20-somethings really are ever given.
My name is Ryder Isidro. I am a Summer Place mentor.
My name is Bridget, and I am a Place mentor.
My name is Samuel Quay, and I'm a mentor here at The Bronx is Blooming.
My name is Christian Fontanes. I am a Place mentor for this summer.
Over the course of the summer, I get to help mentor 12 SYEP students and kind of teach them the importance of environmental stewardship in the South Bronx and how important it really is to start planting that seed in their heads of this is one Earth, only one home, and we really need to start taking care of it.
Through tree stewardship, you know, when we're putting the mulch around, when we're aerating, that helps the water, like when it rains, like become absorbed more easily. So like things like the combined sewage overflow will hopefully happen less when there's, you know, the trees are actually able to like do their job and absorb the water.
I say I enjoy environmental work to an extent. You know, it's just a lot of physical, a lot of dirty work, but you know, you learn a lot of new things about the environment as well as ways to help the environment too.
I think that it's great that I get to be out under the sun all day. I really value that experience because I feel like my life so far has drawn me to being mostly in buildings, so this is a really good escape from that.
Over the course of the summer, I really liked working for the Bronx is Blooming, just being able to see the development of the students I got to work with, watch them grow, and watch them really take ownership of where they live and really give back to the community. Seeing the evolution of the parks as well, the work that we're doing there, the tree stewardship, seeing trees that would have normally have died if it wasn't for us being there start to thrive and regain foliage. It's really nice being able to actually do work that you see making a difference in the community. And I think that's one of the best things about programs like Bronx is Blooming, or just environmental programs as a whole, is the work that you're doing is making an immediate impact and immediate difference. It may not be seen on a global scale, but on a local scale it's felt. And the more people do that, the more of an aggregate we have, the larger of a group, the more these impacts are going to start changing and actually doing it better for the world as a whole. So I really find the work that I do personally for the Bronx is Blooming to be really, really fulfilling and really beneficial to me and the people around me.
Some students will come up to me after we've cleared out an entire area, when we've been weeding areas, getting rid of a bunch of mugwort, burdock, other weeds like that. They'll come up to me and they'll say, wow, look at how much we did. And those moments really resonate with me and stick with me because it means that they're getting something out of it beyond just a work experience. Of course, they're here to get paid. That's the job. But I feel like even if they don't continue doing environmental work in the future, it's something that will stick with them, and wherever they're at, they'll always be conscientious of the environment because of the work that they've done. And I think that is something that cannot be understated. It's nice to see that the work that I'm doing has a real impact, especially because I'm working so close to where I actually live, right? I feel like I'm bettering the environment and the community just by the work I'm doing, and so it's very meaningful, and I appreciate it.
During my time with the Bronx is Blooming from March all the way till now, I definitely have created some impact on the Bronx green spaces, whether it's the tree stewardship, whether it's planting, taking care of native versus invasive species. It's just all these different types of little nuances that helps create a difference within our Bronx environment.
I think people's ability to connect to the work is very different when they can get their hands in the work. And I think because we get to do that with our students and with our volunteers and with our communities, it creates something where, you know, a former student said to me, and I think this is the piece that's always stuck with me, is a former student and then mentor said to me, with this type of work, I always know that the third shrub to the left is the shrub that I planted. And so every time I walk by that neighborhood, I know that's my shrub. And so it gives both that sense of ownership, but ownership of something tangible, right? Not just the skills that we teach our students and the skills that our volunteers gain and the understanding of native species and how important they are, but really the tangible, like, that's my plant, I planted that. That's my tree, that's the tree I planted. This is not just some park, it's the park of this community, and it's the park of the people who come and work on Saturdays with us and plant these plants and then care for these plants.
Corporate volunteers provide a service and contribute to our work in a very meaningful way. They become a part of our team and a part of our mission. That's where I really get a lot of value doing my job, is like those sorts of connections that I make. People who are just passionate about supporting our work and seeing the benefit the way that I do from the same perspective, and appreciating the challenges that come with that and recognizing the need for more volunteers. So I really just I appreciate more than anything what it means to wake up on your Saturday morning and come to Soundview Park in like 90-degree weather and work for 2 to 3 hours in a park that might not even be your neighborhood park, that you might not come to, you know, on a weekly, monthly, even annual basis, if not for the volunteer opportunity. That kind of dedication and drive, ultimately that ethos, is one that I think more people should look to emulate. It's very inspiring for me too, and the work that I do, to know that people care enough about it to do it in their free time. There is a stigma around working in an outer borough, particularly the Bronx. If you gave most volunteers the choice between like their Saturday morning in Central Park or a Saturday morning in Soundview Park, they would probably pick Central Park 9 times out of 10. There's more amenities in and outside of the park in the area. There's more public transportation, and generally speaking, the space is just a lot more taken care of due to a huge resource gap the Bronx parks face, and also just due to environmental racism and the treatment of green spaces and public space in the Bronx versus Manhattan. So those sorts of realities, those environmental issues and health and safety issues to the community do play a role, and they do affect corporate interest and volunteer interest in general.
I think one of the biggest issues that we face is that New York City has more than 10% parkland overall, and that significantly less than 1% of the city's budget goes to parkland, to funding parks. Parks are classified as a non-essential service. I think there is so much research that is coming out now to show that parks and green spaces are essential for mental community health and also for life-sustaining things like large trees, cooling air temperature, air quality. We all need to work together, and the way the system is set up right now, a lot of people do not need to support funding for parks in order to have nice parks in their neighborhood, because there are conservancies and other avenues that support parks in many neighborhoods, mainly wealthier neighborhoods. And so I think that the environmental justice piece connects to overall knowledge and understanding, but also to everybody recognizing it's in their best interest to have better parks and better community spaces, even not in their own neighborhoods.
You know, the more people that are keenly aware of the issues facing parks, the more voters we have going out every November, June, whatever, every election day, and voting based on those issues. If you can create more people, within people, a mindset shift to think about these things differently, like what is a park do? You know, it's not just a place you go and play softball. It's not just a place you go for a walk.
I have learned that everything takes a lot longer than you think it will. But I have also learned that relationships from the beginning come around and around again. I am continuously reminded how small the world is when you think about your partners and the relationships you build. And I think our organization is built on the strength of our partnerships and the strength of our students and volunteers. And so I think through that, because we've built strong partnerships over the year, I think that's really helped us organizationally.
Some days all it takes is like just a flower in bloom, and that just brightens my day, and it makes me feel like the work matters because we're adding some color and some life to the world. I really do get a lot out of just working with volunteers and students, our students especially, watching them kind of go through the same processes that I did when I first started doing this work, starting to learn and unlock that part of their brain that, you know, sees more than just green when they look at plants, and understanding key concepts that we try to educate on, like biodiversity and why that's important, and just appreciating the natural world for more than just like a nice backdrop or a pretty view.
I think personally and professionally, I've just grown tremendously through through the kind of slow transition of our organization and through both challenges and disappointments as well as the wins that we've had. It's really just taught me where to focus my energy and effort, and it's given me the time to make sure that we are at every step focused on our mission and our goals.
So in 10 years, there are many different visions for where the Bronx is Blooming could be. I think for me personally, I would be really excited about some sort of public-private partnership with New York City parks. So that would mean aligning our goals and directives with the goals and directives of New York City parks. We've got a lot of encouragement from the Parks Department, from city government, and community members that really want our presence to increase in general.
I would love for us to develop a more robust year-round youth leadership development program and have full-time staff working with students year-round, educating and running programming geared towards students. I would like to see a full-time gardening crew, horticulturalists working in our parks day in, day out.
I think I can see us doing more work with more students in more communities, clearly, but I think while we have 5-year goals, I do think kind of 10 and 15 years out, there is some sense of we have goals and also the sky is the limit, right? Because things happen and you get opportunities that you can't even anticipate will exist 5 years from now. I really see that the Bronx is Blooming has the potential to be a scalable model that moves not only within our community, but within other communities as well, whether that be other boroughs or other cities. I think one of the reasons that I founded the Bronx is Blooming was to work with communities, but also really to work with students in the Bronx to find spaces for opportunity that I think we all see the spaces where we've missed things in life that could have been instrumental, and I could see some of those things and see where we could, with our program, offer those things to the students who come through our program and give them the opportunity for whatever term you want to use, a leg up, a stepping stone that gets them in the door at higher than the lowest earner, right? Like that gets you a little bit more supervisory experience, a little bit more experience to give you that advantage for the slightly better job, which helps you on the path upward.